Today we're talking about why the INFJs stay single longer than most. I've talked to a lot of INFJs throughout the last years, right? I've been doing this channel for 8 years. I've been a coach for the last 6 years. And so throughout bootcamp and coaching, I've talked to so many INFJs about this. And one of the things is that INFJs stay single longer than most. And even if they have relationships, they don't seem to get very serious very often. And so the question arises, what is the reason for that? Why are INFJs staying single longer than most? And it's not only those obvious reasons, it's actually a little bit deeper than that. So today we're going to talk about why this is happening, if this is actually a good thing, and what we can learn out of it. Before we get started, I want to remind you the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp round is launching January 28th. The first live call will be February 4th, so make sure you're on that waiting list. You get access to the early bird price. You get notified once we go live. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. So reason number one, the INFJ stays single longer than most is because the INFJ is never satisfied with the superficial. You know many people who seem to, monkey bar themselves from one relationship to the other, and it's always something that is there to keep them occupied. It isn't something that is deep. It's more like, oh, there's fun behind it. This is, somebody that I can hang out with, somebody that I can interact with, and mostly I don't have to tell myself I'm single. This is something that will never ever satisfy the INFJ. I've never found an INFJ who is okay with the superficial. Like, even if we try it for a while, we get bored. Like, we need something deeper than this. The fact that, oh, there's just somebody there that I can spend my Saturday evening with isn't going to cut it. It's never going to be enough for the INFJ because we need more. We need more intensity, we need more thrill, and we need something that fits into our life with a purpose. So the superficial stuff is never going to be reason enough for us to get into a relationship. So if you look now at the people who you know in your life who've done this, who, jump from relationship to relationship and it never seems like it's something deep, ask yourself, how would life be if they wouldn't do that? If they wouldn't be satisfied with the superficial? And you'll recognize that those people would also stay single longer. So that in itself already shows you that a huge part of what makes you different and why you are single longer than most is actually very explainable through the fact that, it just doesn't cut it for us. If it's just some superficial thing that we have just so we can say we're in a relationship. Reason number two, and that is very much connected to reason number one, is because we look for meaning in that relationship. And I'm not talking about, oh, we're looking for this relationship to mean something to us or we're looking to have a connection. No. We're looking for the meaning of life. We're looking for our purpose very often in a relationship. Is this healthy? I don't think so. But it's still something most of us do if we haven't really worked it out. Because we don't like to be around a lot of people. If we haven't gotten to a place where we're comfortable being ourselves all the time, if we see one person that we sort of feel like could understand us, that we could be ourselves around, it is something that becomes very, very important to us. It's something that we give a lot of meaning. So very often the person that we're attracted to sort of becomes our solution or becomes the goal. As in, okay, I could start a new life with that person. I could move away because of that person. I could get myself out of my boring life and start living a comfortable and exciting life once I'm with them. You have no idea how often INFJs approach me and say, oh, I like somebody, but they live overseas. I was in a relationship with somebody overseas for years, and I have had crushes on people who didn't live in my city or my country. And I've talked about this in, a couple of videos, and more of, oh, somebody approached me and they said, oh, there's somebody I like and they live overseas. You cannot imagine how many INFJs wrote under this video, oh, you're talking about me. You took me as an inspiration because I wrote this down on another video of yours. And I was like, guess what? I mean, this doesn't surprise me, but it wasn't about you. It wasn't you personally. It was another INFJ. but it's something that so many of us experience. So I was asking myself, is this a coincidence? And of course it isn't. It is because we make that relationship, this potential relationship, mean so much. We are trying to find our solution there because it's easier for us to find it through another person than to do all the other steps, which will actually make us find and create a solution for ourselves in our own world, right? It's easier to escape our world and put ourselves into somebody else's world. But guess what? People cannot handle this. It's not healthy to begin with, but even if it was, and even if you would look at it, oh, but this is such an exciting adventure and it could be exciting for them and for us and all of that, the pressure that you're putting on that person is too much in 99% of the cases. And I'm not just talking about like you are making those mistakes. I'm talking about me as well. I've done this countless times where I felt, oh, I have such a connection with that person and I want to live in their world and it's just so exciting and all of that. It was always too much for people. Or for one moment, they felt completely seen, and the moment I become human, they recognized that I'm not that, thing that they were projecting on, because, that's what we do. We're so great at this, pretending to be exactly what the other person needs. So, they sort of get hooked to us and they need us. And so we don't really have to get vulnerable. And the story goes on and on. So if we know that this kind of relationship is not going to be fruitful, and if these are the only potential relationships that we're attracted to, then it's no wonder that they don't work out, because we're expecting too much of that person. And until we get to a space where we understand this and know that we have to do something different, we're always going to look for a relationship with these kind of people and these kind of circumstances. And there continuously are going to be dead-end roads. And that is one of the reasons why we as INFJs stay single longer than most. Reason number 3 why INFJs stay single longer than most is because we undervalue ourselves. In a lot of ways, this is connected to reason number 2, but here it's all about, if I really want to shine, I need to be myself. I need to be able to create the life that I want on my terms, and I have to do it myself. But in order to do that, it will require for us to be ourselves. And it will require for us to, show up as authentically as we possibly can. And probably every INFJ will say, but I am authentically me. I thought about that about myself as well. But I also recognized that I was hiding a lot of parts of myself because they were weird, because they were not understandable for other people, because they were making other people uncomfortable. I kept myself small in order for other people not to feel, stepped on. And a lot of INFJs do that. And so when you go through life this way, you're automatically looking for people as your partner who actually can't be a partner to yourself, because they're not on your level in regards to what your ambitions are, what your convictions are, the things that are important to you. They don't really fit with you. It's not even that they're bad people. It's just that they're not on the level that you deserve. They might be on a really high level for somebody else, but for what you deserve in a partner, they're not measuring up. They don't have everything that you require in order to have somebody who's, on eye level. Again, I'm not saying the INFJ is better than somebody else. It's just that that person isn't good enough for you. They might be perfect for somebody else who's also an incredible person. But as I said, the things that you require, that person cannot offer you. Because we continuously look for people who are sort of a project, who aren't really looking for the same things we're looking for, because we feel like we can't have that. But once you get to a place where you understand, okay, I have to choose me. I have to start watering my own grass. I have to create and become a person who I'm proud of. So if I would see myself and I would see my life, I would say that person is living a cool life. Like, that person is awesome. And once you get to a place like this, you are needing different things from a partner. You are then looking for somebody who you can include into your life, who will add to your life, who will enhance your life. And if you continuously are choosing people who are not doing these things, but who you're hoping would sort of accept you for the first time ever, you're of course not going to get anywhere, because people see that you have more to offer. People are aware of that. People are aware that what you're looking for, they cannot provide. And so they take themselves out of the race. It's not like they go up to you and say, "Oh, you're so amazing. I just can't give you what you want and what you need." No, they are not even looking at you from that perspective because it's too risky for them. There is somebody who's showing interest in them, and for them, it seems like you have way more to offer than they are. So they're going to find reasons why they're not really interested in you, because they think, okay, this person obviously has way much more to offer than me. And why would I, get involved in something like this? Like, that makes me feel bad about myself. I mean, how often were you looking for people and thinking you might give them a chance who weren't really at a level where they could be your partner, somebody that you see at eye level, somebody that might help you to elevate your life? And so it's no wonder that if those are the kind of people we look for and we try to have a relationship potentially, that we stay single for longer than most. The problem with this is that we don't think that there's an alternative. But trust me, there is. And that is when we get to reason number 4, which is that the INFJ hides their true selves. You cannot find somebody who's a partner on your level if you're not putting everything you got into your own life. Only when you say, "I'm using all of my potential to create the best life I can by myself," only then can you get to a place where you say, "Okay, now who can come into my life and who can enhance it?" Because if you're not doing that, you're always making a compromise. You're always saying, I could do this by myself, but if I partner up with that person, then I have to make myself smaller in this area, and I have to compromise in, this way, because otherwise I would make the other person uncomfortable, and so on. This is, of course, part of the game if you're not being true to yourself. But if you get to a place where you say, "I cannot do this anymore," like if I stay single for the rest of my life, if nobody's ever going to like me, and I definitely was at that space, I just had it. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Everything I was trying to do, everything that I was trying to be for somebody else, it just brought me pain. It just brought me exhaustion, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I really had to get to a place where I said, I have to let myself be seen. And that, of course, included showing aspects of myself that I thought were unlovable. Parts of me that were selfish, parts of me that were all about being ambitious and, being able to do a lot of things for myself. You are an INFJ. You have SE as an extroverted sensing in your system. It's not a lot. It's not that you could go out and be action, action, action all day, every day. But you do have that in you, and it's drive. And we have to get to a place where we take responsibility for that. And if you do that, you automatically are saying, I have to allow myself to be everything that I am. And if that means that you would lose people because they couldn't keep up with you, because, they would see actually how intense you are and how much you require, and how much space you actually take up, and that a person in your presence has to be a strong, stable person who sees you, who appreciates you, and on top of that, cherishes that. That's when we get to the next level. But as long as you're hiding your true self, you're not able to find a person that you can be in a long-lasting relationship with, that is going to accept you the way you are and is going to enhance your life. So if you've gone through all of the other reasons and you already recognize, okay, I cannot look for those particular people, that isn't healthy for me, but I don't see that there's another option, I don't see other people that could be an option for me, then trust me, lean into yourself. Be more of who you are. Start living more authentically with all of those aspects that you might think others might not like. Because through that process, you will change. You will start seeing different people. You will be focused on a different life and on people who are also living other lives. There are billions of people around us, and we only see the people who sort of mirror back to us the kind of life we're living. This is not just INFJs, this is everybody. So if you change, if you start living a different kind of life, you will start seeing other kind of people in your life that might have been there all the time, but you have blended them out. Like, that's what we're good at. People in general, There's so much information going on everywhere around us that we can only focus on what is, within our sphere. That's why if you say, oh, I have this new dream car, you will see it like 3 times the next week. This car has passed you, every single week for 3 times, but you haven't seen it because that wasn't what you were looking for. And your brain is smart enough to only show you the things that you're focused on because it cannot comprehend or, absorb all of it. So when you want to change this pattern and say, I'm ready to have a relationship that is different than everything I wanted but didn't get, this is how it starts. And that's actually when reason number 5 comes in very handy. Because reason number 5, why INFJs are single longer than most, is because we're okay to be alone. We're okay with that. We're willing to make the necessary sacrifices in order to get what we really want. We don't need to be in a superficial relationship. We don't need to make ourselves so small because we're so desperate for a relationship. We might think that we're shrinking ourselves, but we're still pretending. We're not really shrinking. And that's what other people are saying. They would be fine with somebody who just wasn't that big of a person, who would allow others to take the lead more. But people get that on some level, we still have control over ourselves. And so the fact that we can stay longer for so long, and it has a lot to do with how we as INFJs are set up, cognitively speaking, we are able to have those evolutions of ourselves and get to a place where we say, I'm ready for a relationship that enhances my life. And I am willing and I can stay single for a long period of time if necessary, because I'm not going to be satisfied with a mediocre life. And that also includes having a relationship that actually enhances your life. So if you've been single for a long time, don't think of it as a wasted time or when is my time coming or anything like this. Just think of it as everything that was necessary for you to push yourself to start living a different kind of life. And that the solution to any kind of feeling of emptiness or, not being connected is not going to be found in all of those places that we talked about today. It starts with you. You have to say that even if I stay single for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a cool life. I'm going to have a life that I can be proud of. I'm going to be happy with myself. And when you do that, when you choose to be most of what you can be, right? Because of course it's a leaning into part. I'm not that naive or, conceited to think, oh, I found myself completely and, I'm authentically myself all the time. That would just be ridiculous because we continuously are evolving and finding out how we were bypassing certain things and trying to use some crutches in our life, whatever it may be. But we can lean into this. And with every single step of this evolution of yours, it's going to be that much easier to, attract somebody and find somebody and actively go out into the world in search for somebody who enhances your life, not somebody who's going to rescue you from yours. Remember, relationships is also a big part of the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp, and it's a fundamental pillar that we talk about. And it's definitely one of the areas you need to look deeper into when you want to create that INFJ Epic Life on your terms. So the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp round is launching January 28th. First live call will be February 4th. Make sure you're on that waiting list. You get access to an early bird price. You get notified once we go live, and you join our amazing community. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why the INFJ Can't Find a Partner.